Welcome to Child's Play by EYR, a podcast dedicated to innovative approaches in education. Join us and our expert guests as they share ideas, strategies, and valuable insights to support the needs of all children. Today we're speaking to Claire, Head of Inspiration and Impact at the 2 Minute Foundation. The 2 Minute Foundation is a charity that works with environmental activists, campaigners and change makers to encourage everyone to play their part and clean up our planet 2 minutes at a time. Let's dive in. Welcome to the podcast, Claire. Can you tell us a bit about yourself and what you do at the 2 Minute Foundation?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. So I am the Head of Inspiration and Impact, which is perhaps the nicest job title anyone has ever had. It's lovely. And what I do at 2 Minute is all of the kind of external engagements. So I work with anyone that wants to learn about the oceans, the coastlines, litter, plastic, climate change, anything. And I go out there and I give them information and hopefully inspire them to live a slightly more sustainable life. So there's a whole team of us in the Inspiration and Impact department. And I get to just spend most of my days on the beach teaching people why the oceans are rad. So it's a great job.
It sounds like so much fun. Yeah. So the 2 Minute Foundation, it started as a movement back in 2003 with just one hashtag, and it's grown since then. It's got a whole team of volunteers making a tangible impact. How has that community kind of grown from that online presence into the real world?
Yeah, do you know, it's completely crazy when you think about the journey. So it all started, as you say, with our founder, a guy called Martin. He was an author and he'd done some TV. So he had a little bit of a following on Twitter. And he went for a surf, came out of the sea, and the beach was just littered with plastic. And he was kind of like, oh, this isn't okay. And he just put a tweet out there saying, do you know what? I'm going to do a hashtag 2 Minute Beach Clean. Does anyone want to join me? And something about it just exploded online like you wouldn't believe. And then since then, there's been people using the hashtag from all corners of the earth. It's amazing. People are doing it in Antarctica, in Australia, middle of Russia, and everywhere in between. And it's been really, really cool. So after he started that hashtag and saw kind of the appetite for this, he kind of thought, you know what, there's more to this than just a hashtag. Let's try and create something, I guess, tangible that people can get on board with. We created more campaigns because we realized that it's not just beaches that need cleaning. We've got litter picks, so we've got the 2 Minute Litter Pick, and we've got 2 Minute Solution campaign, which is all about other simple fixes that people can do to live a more planet-friendly lifestyle. And 2 Minutes of Positivity, which was a campaign that came out in the middle of COVID, would you believe? So we've now got followers from all over the world online. We've got people going out doing their beach cleans and litter picks every single day. It's a really wonderful global movement that just started from one guy putting it out there and saying, you know what, we need to do a little bit to help. And it's created this huge ripple effect, which is really exciting to be a part of.
Yeah, it's amazing how that can just happen just with one person beginning something. I think that's incredible, because often I feel like people feel overwhelmed with just how much has to be done. So on that note, how much of a difference does 2 minutes really make?
Do you know, it's one of those questions that I get asked a lot. And if you think about an individual 2 minute action, it isn't going to make a massive difference. You know, if I go out for 2 minutes and pick up 6 or 7 plastic bottles, that's not going to make a difference in the scale of the problem. But if we all did that, if everybody did a 2 minute beach clean or a 2 minute litter pick every single day, even once a week, that would be collectively a huge amount of plastic collected. And don't forget, of course, when you go out and do a beach clean or a litter pick, people see you doing it. So not only are you doing your own 2 minute litter pick, but someone might see you doing it and go, oh, they're picking up litter. Oh, I can see a little bit of litter on the floor. Maybe I should pick that up and put it in the bin that's next to it. And then they've done their little bit as well. And then someone might see them doing it. So then they do it. And it's that chain reaction. We often say that a litter pick or a beach clean is kind of like a bit of a gateway drug. Once you've done your little 2 minute beach clean and you're like, yeah, that was all right. That was quite fun. I didn't really mind doing that. Maybe I'll do it again tomorrow. And then they do it again tomorrow. And then they think, yeah, I might do a bit more than 2 minutes next time. And then they do a little bit more than 2 minutes. And then before you know it, they're sort of litter picking or beach cleaning every day. They've got their reusable cup. Then they're saying no to plastic bottles. You know, they've just completely changed their habits. And it's all started from something as simple as a 2 minute beach clean. And I think it's about having that belief that actually, yes, you're doing your 2-minute beach clean, but so are 200,000 other people around you on the same day. And collectively, that means you're doing tons. You're not just doing your 2-minute, and believe that you are part of something bigger, because you are. All you need to do is go onto Instagram and search the hashtag, and you can see just how many people are doing their beach cleans every day. But you're right, 2 minutes in itself is never going to make a difference. But you're part of something bigger, because there are thousands of people doing their 2 minutes every day.
I love that kind of collective action, because something that you've mentioned on your website is you aim to have, instead of a few people doing a lot of hours, it's like hundreds and thousands of people having those 2 minutes, taking those 2 minutes. You have 5 key aims in the 2-minute foundation, which are to clean up, use your stations, connect, learn, and to stay positive, which I love the stay positive bit, because often it can feel like you're kind of drowning in litter. Yes. Can you tell us how those aims make a wider impact in the community?
Yeah, I think connecting is one of the most important one of our aims, to be honest, because I think, like, as we've sort of touched on, that if you're doing your own little 2-minute beach clean on your own, it's quite hard to sort of remember that you're part of a bigger solution. And reminding yourself of that and connecting to other people that are also making little changes is a really powerful thing. And I think that sense of community is, it's almost like a superpower. I think if you feel part of something, it gives you that confidence, and it spurs you on to doing something that maybe you're feeling a bit negative about. So I think connecting with others around you, and whether we can be that person that connects you all, whether that's me saying, oh, actually, I know someone else that does a beach clean in Brighton. Why don't you guys chat? Maybe you can go together sometimes. And if we can be that central point that does connect people from all different corners, then I think that's a really, really powerful thing, because the 2-minute community that we've got around us is incredible. There are so many people. They are so dedicated. They're such wonderful people that making those little connections is really important. I think staying positive, as you say as well, is another really important thing, because you can feel like you're drowning in plastic. It can feel completely overwhelming. And staying positive in the face of that is really hard. And I know that. And it's very easy to say, oh, don't worry, you're making a difference. But actually, if people aren't feeling that, then they're not going to be feeling that, And I think we need to make sure that there's a lot of positivity around what we're doing. Yes, you might have only picked up 2 plastic bottles that day, but actually each plastic bottle has got the potential to break down into 1,000 pieces. And then those 1,000 pieces could each be eaten by a bird. And then that's 1,000 birds that are infected just by that one plastic bottle that was on the floor. But you picked that up. So that means you've essentially helped protect 1,000 birds. I think it's trying to find those little bits of positivity in what you're doing, and remembering that, again, you're part of a huge community of people doing it every single day. And you are a massive player in what is going on. Now, the 2-minute stations that we've got, I'm sure you will have seen them around there. We've got 1,400 of them now around the UK in different places. They're those little wooden A-frame stations. They've often got litter pickers in bags in, or sometimes the litter pickers' bags have gone missing. But yeah, they're a great way of, they're a good marketing tool, because they say on them, have you done your beach clean? So as soon as you walk onto a beach, you have a reminder that actually these beaches need protecting and we need to be looking after them. But they also provide people with the tools, so if they're not sure how to get into beach cleaning, it gives them a litter picker and a bag, and it tells them what to do. And the surprising amount of people say to me, like, how do I do a beach clean? And it's a case of just walking on a beach or a street, even doing a litter pick, walking anywhere, seeing a piece of litter and then picking it up again. It's really that simple. Yes, a litter picker makes it maybe more fun and safer. And a bag is really helpful to put stuff in. But even if you're just walking along the street and you see something blowing down the road, picking it up and putting it in a bin is doing a litter pick. You've done it. You've ticked that box, Yeah, the stations are a great way of kind of reminding people, I think, that our natural spaces need some support from us.
And something you mentioned before, having that central point in local communities, I think is really great. And it's shown such a massive impact has been made, because I think it's been something like 80% of a drop in litter in those areas that it's been in. I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah, it's really exciting. We started by doing some research actually at our local beach here. We put one station out for 6 months, and it was a beach that gets monthly cleans, sort of like an organised beach clean every month. And there's always a survey done of what's found, and straight away we saw a 60% drop in the litter after having one of the stations there for just a month. And it's just because people are then doing it every day, rather than having to do it just once a month. And there's a lot of people that don't want to get together once a month to do a big beach clean with lots of other people around. Maybe they don't have the time for it. Maybe they don't have the headspace for that. There's lots of reasons that people want to do an individual thing rather than a group organised activity. And there was a big gap for that. There's loads of groups that do monthly beach cleans, and they're great. And yes, go along, be social and do that if that's your bag. But actually, if that's not for you, then doing a 2-minute beach clean in your own time when you can, where you can, is just as powerful.
On top of the stations that you also have the beach school and ocean protectors programs. How do those empower young people to kind of get started with knowing and understanding how important the ocean is for us?
It's the best thing, the beach school that we've got. So we've got one here in Bude, which is where I live, and it's kind of like our pilot area. Our dreams are to have our little 2-minute beach schools in lots of different areas. But the children, they know their stuff, man. They are really the future of stuff. They're going to change the world. They know what is going on, and they know that they're not okay with it. What they don't know is what they can do about it. And that's kind of where we come in. They know that seabirds are dying because they're getting stuck in plastic. They don't know how they can help. So by giving them loads of information, loads of solutions, loads of practical things that they can either do at the moment, or that they can aspire to do when they get a bit older or when they go into the workforce, whatever it might be, is going to mean that we're raising a generation of kids who are not only aware of the problems, but equipped to deal with those problems as well. So the beach school here, we have about 100 kids a week that come through the beach school. Some of them come every single week. Some of them just come occasionally throughout the year. And we do loads of things that make them fall in love with our coastlines and our oceans, and then learn how to protect them. And it's just so inspiring to see them. There's still some kids. I live in Cornwall, and every single time we have a school visit us, which we do, 20 or 30 school visits a year, every time a school comes to visit us, the first thing we say is, okay, who's been to a beach before? And you'd be amazed at how many children haven't been to the beach before. And we live in an island, there's nowhere in the UK that is further than 70 miles from the coast. So even if you've got a school coming from sort of the Birmingham area, which is one of the furthest away, they're still only an hour and 15 minutes from the coast. And at 10, they still haven't been to the coastline before. It's a crazy statistic when you think how close we actually are. So I think getting kids to the beaches is vital, because it's a really tangible, easy win. You get a kid to the sea, they see the waves, they see the sun, they see a bird, and they instantly connect what they're trying to learn in a classroom to the real world. And that is really, really important. It's impossible to protect something if you don't understand it or you don't like it. No one's going to go out there and start protecting an animal that they've never heard of, or a habitat that they can only dream about but have never seen a photo of. You have to learn something, you have to understand something, you have to love something in order to dedicate your time to protecting it. That's what these kids have got in bucketfuls. We just need to give them that opportunity to see the sea.
Yeah, I think that's so important, because I was thinking about my own experiences, and I grew up in Yorkshire, so we have Scarborough and Filey nearby, and then my mum is from North Wales, so we have Llandudno, Colwyn Bay, that kind of place. But I was thinking about, and up until maybe 2 years ago, I'd never actually been swimming in the ocean, which is crazy, because I'd been to the beaches, but I'd dip my toes maybe, but never actually thought about going swimming there. So I completely agree. It's you have to have that connection with the space in order to even think about how much you love it and you want to protect that space.
Something we had earlier, I think back to our interview with Ocean Generation, and they said a lot of the same things that you do, that there is such a disconnect with children who live even closer to the ocean than Birmingham, less than an hour, not having been to the ocean, to the beaches and things like that. So I think it's really interesting.
Yeah,
and I think there's you just assume, I live in Bude, which my house is a 10-minute walk away from the beach. So I'm at the beach and I work at the beach. So I go to the beach every single day for fun and for work. And the beach is such a massive part of my life. But we had a school that came from Bude. So a school that I think there was 40 odd kids in the class. They were year 4, so they were aged sort of 7 and 8. And we said to them, how many of you have been to this beach before? So we've got lots of beaches in our area. So how many of you have been to this beach? Only about half of them. How many of you have been to the beach over there? Again, about half of them. So we just sort of said, how many of you have never been to any of the beaches in this area? And 2 kids. Now, these 2 kids have never been to the beaches, and yet they both lived about a 15-minute walk away from the sea. And they've never been to the beaches in 7 years. So it's not just a problem with, inner city or far away places. It's just that not every single family values the beach, So when they had family days out, they might go shopping or they might go inland to a museum. Like, we don't know where they go. They certainly don't go to the coastline. And that's what I thought. I mean, it was a real moment for us where we kind of went, whoa, okay, like whenever we think about kids not connecting with the oceans, we don't think about it, the kids that are here on the doorstep of the sea. We think it's those that are maybe disconnected because they're further away. But this, I mean, Cornwall is a beach county. Like, there's everything here is beaches. And it was just so startling that these 2 young kids in 7 years hadn't walked in one certain direction for 10 minutes and hit the sea. Crazy.
That's so surprising because it's only...
I know.
I'd be at the beach every single day if I lived near it.
Well, yeah, exactly. And that's kind of, you forget that not everyone has got that mentality, actually. And if you aren't that sort of person, then you don't know why you need to look after the beach, do you? If you've never been there, why would you think about it?
What are the ways that you kind of help inspire children to fall in love with the ocean? What kind of earth-conscious activities does the 2-Minute Foundation promote? Because I know you wrote the 2-Minute Guide to Reducing Waste for Schools. Is that right?
Yeah. That's a really cool resource if you're in a school and you don't really know where to start with what you can do, because again, it's all about small actions adding up to having a massive difference, and they really do. So do have a look at that resource if you're interested. But I think what we do on the beaches is literally show them, get your hands dirty and see what's here. We go into the rock pools, we look at the creatures running around in the rock pools, we talk about why they're there. We talk about maybe why they've moved, because things are moving, because the climate is changing. So that means the water is getting warmer. So, there's lots of changes happening. And the kids are hungry for that knowledge, We always do beach cleans, of course, and then they're always amazed at how much we find, especially the microplastics, which are the really, really tiny little bits of plastic that have come from the ocean. They're not sort of the stuff that people are leaving on the beaches after their picnic. They're not lazy people. This is ocean plastics that are coming ashore. And we see the birds going in and out of the cliffs, roosting, and then like the baby birds flying away again. We go up onto the cliffs and we see all the wonderful habitats and all the little lizards and stuff that live amongst the grasses there. We've got a really exciting dune system that has got loads of wonderful plants, a lot of edibles as well. And we just let kids explore it and answer their questions. And yes, of course, every single lesson that we deliver has got an outcome intended. At the moment, we're doing nature and conservation. So everything that we're doing is about how to conserve that thing. So yes, we're going to go and play in the dunes, and actually let's have a game of, spot swordfish, which I will have to teach you one day. It's a very fun game. Gets them all running around like mad things. But we'll have a game of spot the swordfish, and then let's talk about swordfish. And actually, do we have swordfish in the UK waters? Well, we do. What protection is there for them? Does that protection work, or are they still getting fished out? So every single thing that we do comes back to how to protect that thing, or why we should be protecting that thing. And if we're not protecting it, then why not? What should we do?
I've learned something new. I didn't know we had swordfish in the UK.
Well, yeah, so we should have swordfish in the UK.
Something I learned was when I was looking through your lessons, there's 6 35-minute lessons. They were talking about ghost nets and nurdles, and I didn't know what a nurdle was. Do you know what a nurdle?
Oh,
what's a nurdle?
There you go. That is a jar of nurdles.
Ah,
what are they?
So nurdles are pre-production plastic. So this is essentially raw plastic in its raw form. So they come in every colour under the sun. So I don't know if you're going to be able to see. There's a little white one. There's a little orange one. So they come in every single colour, and these are plastic pellets. So any plastic item starts its life as a nurdle. So what you would do is, if you were in a plastics factory and you wanted to make a blue biro lid, you'd get your box of blue nurdles, melt them down, pour them into the mould of your biro lid, and then what comes out is your plastic product. So in this jar is about 200 nurdles. And the crazy statistic at the moment is that in Northern Europe alone, we spill 280,000 every single second.
Oh, no.
Every single second. And that's in Northern Europe. So if you think of Northern Europe on a scale of plastic production globally, it's very small. We don't produce a lot of plastic compared to a lot of countries in Asia and America. And if we're spilling 280,000 every single second, just imagine how many are being spilled globally. So these wash up on every single wave on our beaches, anywhere on the West Coast, and some places on the East Coast as well, but predominantly the West Coast. We're just getting handfuls of these things out of the water every single day. So yeah, those videos are great. So that was during lockdown, actually, during COVID. We just sort of kind of went, well, how can we bring the beach to the classrooms when classrooms are, they're not even in a classroom at the moment because everyone was doing homeschooling while the schools were closed. So we produced a series of little lessons, and they're all sort of between 30 and 45 minutes long. They come with resources, and they were just little videos that sort of show our beaches. And I can tell you about the lessons that we're doing here at beaches in your home. So yeah, they're all free to download. So do find them on our website. There's also a series of little 2-minute videos that we put together. I think there's about 30 of those now. And they're just called 2 minutes on the beach. And they're just literally a 2-minute snippet of information about something that you can do at the beach or something that's interesting about the beach. And all of it connects to why the beach is so important, why our coastlines need protecting.
Has there ever been any school or organisation that's really embraced the 2-minute approach?
There's lots, yeah. So lots of the local schools, lots of the further away schools as well. I think, again, because it's such a simple concept, it's about taking 2 minutes, and even a 2 minutes of positivity break is about finding the positivities and finding the good things. So whether it's, you're having a really bad day and actually it's about putting your pads down, putting your phones down, putting your computers down and just sitting there and, singing your favorite song for 2 minutes. Those little 2-minute breaks in the day are really, really vital. And that's what we found during COVID, was that actually people really needed that little bit of something that you just get from maybe being in nature. And all of a sudden we were told during COVID, we couldn't go outside, we couldn't go to the beaches, we couldn't go to the parks, we couldn't get our headspace time. And that's kind of why the 2 minutes of positivity campaign started, really. But yeah, we've got a few schools here that, they do their they've got a litter pick station in their school grounds. Every single lunchtime, a different class gets to use their litter pick station and do a little litter pick around the school grounds, because again, it's not just stuff that's being dropped. The wind will bring litter from other parts of towns and things down the drains and the gutters. So there's always other stuff to pick up as well, which is brilliant. And we go into schools and we can do workshops and assemblies, and we can do them virtually, we can do them in person, and we get the schools to us at the beaches. We do school series, so we can go into a school for a whole half term, 1 day a week, and just do a whole series of intervention. And the Ocean Protectors After School Club, which is very, very popular. And I think, schools are crying out for a bit of support with this, because again, even as adults, we all know that something's not working right, but often there are so many different places to look for the right information that it's overwhelming. And I would encourage anybody to just reach out if you want a one-stop kind of answer to how to do anything. We will give you as much information as we can. And we work very closely with lots of the other charities and organisations as well that are working for the same cause. We very much will recommend other resources and other things that can be done.
Yeah, I love that. It's not like competition if we're all in it for the same thing, is it? We have to work together to make it happen.
God, yeah. We're stronger together. We're fighting the same fight. We need to be building each other up and not sort of trying to keep that ego thing alive, which is alive. It's, there is a fair bit of ego out there, but that's not how we roll.
Just before we go, it's been an amazing chat, but we'd love to hear what your final thought is that you'd like to leave our listeners with.
I think my final thought for you guys is every single action you have or that you take, whether it's a positive action or a negative action, has an impact. And that is really important thing to remember. You are one part of a massive community, whether you're doing a really great thing, whether it's a positive thing that you're doing for just 2 minutes, maybe it's a litter pick or a beach clean, or you're putting some water out for your birds, that has an impact. Or whether on the other side, maybe you're throwing a piece of litter onto the floor, maybe you're buying a plastic water bottle instead of refilling your own, maybe you're getting a carrier bag from Sainsbury's because you didn't bring your own one. That has an impact. So every single action that you have, every single decision that you make can and will impact the planet. And just try and make sure that the impact that your action is having is a positive impact, not a negative one. And just remember that your actions count. They really, really count, because if we all take accountability for all of our actions, the world would be a much happier place.
I think that's a really great point to end on. Is there anything, I'm sure there is, what's happening in 2024 for the 2 Minute Foundation? Anything exciting?
Oh, so much. So much is going on. It's so exciting. So we've got all the stuff going on in Bude, in Cornwall. If anyone is ever visiting, come and see us here. This is a year-round situation going on here. We've got events coming out of our ears. We've also got another 2 road shows going on this year, which is when I go into communities for a weekend and give you a little bit of 2 minute magic and try and galvanise the community. So we've got 2 more of those. We've just done 1, 2 more of those upcoming, and they'll be anywhere in the country. So if you're interested, then follow along on our socials or our website, because you guys get to vote as to where we go. So that's really cool. We've got hundreds more school visits. I've got a few talks and other events around the country, which is really cool. Hoping to go up to Scotland for a little while and see some of our friends up there and do a bit of a station giving out situation up there. Watch this space on that. And watch this space on stations news, because in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be dropping some very exciting information about our actual stations. There's just so much going on, and as a small charity, it changes all the time. So I know I say that I've got these plans, but actually I don't really know what I'm doing even in 2 weeks from now, because something will happen between now and then that means I'm doing something else. So it's really exciting, and do just follow along, sign up to our newsletter, find us on socials, find our website, and you will be the first to know what we're up to.
That's great. Come to Manchester. That's my...
Hey, okay. That's your bonus habit. I'll add it to the list. And if you want to reach out to me directly, then, email me. You can find my email on the website. It's just claire@2minute.org. It's really simple. But get in touch, pick up the phone. We love to chat to you guys. We're here to help. We're here to support. And we're here to say thank you to everybody for every single positive action that they take. Like, we want to celebrate you guys and, give us a chance to let us know who you are. Introduce yourself. We want to meet you.
Well, thank you, Claire. Thank you for being on our podcast, and I feel so inspired.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Big thanks to Claire for joining us for this episode. What were your key takeaways?
Well, we wouldn't be talking to Claire if the movement didn't start with one person. So I think the takeaway was there are other people who feel the same way as you, and it could become a movement just as big as 2 Minute Foundation, or alongside the 2 Minute Foundation, because it's not a competition.
What about you?
Yes, on that point, there's so many organisations out there that are looking to help you with your sustainable journey. And like you said, it's not a competition if we were all going for the same goal for building a better future. So I think my key takeaway was that we all have to work together.
A huge thanks to Claire for joining us on today's episode.
That's a wrap for season 2. Let us know your thoughts on this series and follow us on our socials for updates.
That's all for this season. Bye.